It's a new era for the Denver Broncos. John Elway steps away from the GM role. George Paton takes the reins.
After a rocky season, Denver really needs to make improvements to get back in the mix for the playoffs.
So tonight, Denver 7's Jason Grenauer is going 360, asking the question, are the Broncos really better off with a new GM?
John Elway has essentially stepped away from running the Denver Broncos.
Yes, a seismic shift in the power at UC Health Center today.
And the Broncos got their man today, hiring George Paton as the team's new general manager.
Broncos made it clear this was their guy.
A change in leadership at Dove Valley. In is new general manager George Paton.
I wanted this job bad. This was a job I really wanted.
No longer running things, now former GM John Elway.
I loved it, and it's time for me to make that next step, and I'm excited about that too.
But before we look forward, let's remember the past. In his decade as a decision maker, franchise legend and Hall of Famer John Elway compiled a record of 90-70 with a win in Super Bowl 50. Record in the last 4 seasons and a 5-year playoff drought.
I think at the end of the day, he recognized that it was in his best interests and in the best interests of the Denver Broncos.
So is this guy an upgrade over this one? In this 360 look, we'll hear what the team has to say, talk to our Broncos insider, a national NFL correspondent, and take the pulse of the fans through Sports Talk Radio. Let's start with the organization itself.
I think we have a bright future with George.
All positive coming out of Dove Valley about the man with 25 years of experience in the league. While not making any outright comparisons between new and former GM, there was a sense of optimism and hope the team will be better in the future under Paton's leadership.
He is a seasoned, smart, and steady person, steady executive who is going to be a great asset for the Broncos for many years to come.
Positive, but not taking sides. Step outside the building, and the perspectives get a little bit more straightforward.
The simple answer is yes, they're better off because they need to rebuild, and George Paton has a foundation and a philosophy of drafting and developing.
Our Denver 7 Broncos insider Troy Rank has been all over the Paton story, speaking to plenty that know him. He's also covered the Broncos day in and day out under Elway's management.
It was just time. It was time for a fresh set of eyes. It doesn't take away from what John Elway did over the catalog of his career as a GM, but clearly right now they need a different set of eyes, new energy, new voice to try to get this back on track.
Zooming out for a more national NFL perspective.
This was the top of their list, and this was a guy who's been at the top of a lot of teams' lists over the last couple of years.
James Palmer covers the Broncos for the NFL Network. He says in league circles, Paton's hiring was considered one of the smartest in the league, thanks to a set of fresh eyes and a desire on both sides for this to work.
Not only did they want him, like so many other teams have, he wanted to be with the Denver Broncos because he's had other suitors, and he had other suitors this offseason.
Broncos fans deserve a voice in this conversation as well, and their voice is heard aplenty on the airwaves of 104.3 The Fan.
Yeah, the fans are definitely happy because now you get a chance to turn the page. You turn the page on what John Elway was able to do.
Former Broncos safety and fan host Nick Ferguson says he thinks the team is better off if the new GM is the one making the big decisions.
Will George Paton be able to actually have full autonomy and put his fingerprint on it? I'm not sure because John is still involved in some capacity.
Ferguson's take is that Paton doesn't need to win a Super Bowl right away like Elway did, but he does have to do one thing Elway couldn't.
So George Paton, his biggest thing is fixing the quarterback position. If he does that, he's going to supersede John Elway in just one leap by that decision alone.
A bright future, a new set of eyes, nowhere to go but up. A lot of optimism as Broncos country looks to their new front office leader to now deliver on the field. I'm Jason Grenauer, Denver 7.
Okay, friends, we want your take now. Do you think George Paton's the right choice? Should John Elway have stayed? Should the Broncos have just cleaned house? Email us 360@thedenverchannel.com.